Hello, welcome. Thank you to be here. We are now this session is to launch the book Diversity, Representation, and Culture in TYA. This book is has been edited by Manon van der Water, and it has been published by South Africa ASSITEJ. I would like to begin. We can see the hello everybody that is online. I'm beginning to accustom with it to handle with these two parts. And I think we have also Tom Maguire online. He's the chair of ITYARN now. And he will say some words. Just let us wait a little bit to us to see all of them. Hello, Chantal. Hello, Tom.
Hi, sorry, the internet just went down. I just missed the last bit. It's just you were starting to speak, Paolo. So sorry, can you just tell me where we're up to? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are welcome to say some words about ITYARN and for everybody here and on Zoom also.
Okay, thank you very much, Paolo, and hello. My apologies for not being able to be present in BABEL with you all. It had been my firm intention to be there. Unfortunately, there are industrial action in the UK higher education, which has meant that I have had to be here to try and manage some of the impacts of that on this week. So as chair of ITYARN, it's a great pleasure to welcome you both online and to those of you who are there in Helsingborg. ITYARN is the International Theatre for Young Audiences Research Network, and it's, I suppose, the official research network of ASSITEJ. And every 3 years at the World Congress and Festival, we organize a conference where researchers as well as artists from all over the world share their insights and perspectives. I suppose when lots of people think about research and it can seem very dry if you're a practitioner and you're spending all day in the studio, the workshop, or in performance, you're wondering what are these academics doing? And as we'll see when we kind of get a chance to have a look at the contents about what academics are doing is actually thinking about, and research are doing is thinking about practice. And if there's theory, it's that's the definition of it. It's a way of thinking about practice. So when we have come to these essays, they are, because they've emerged out of conversations in symposia and conferences, they are in some respects the record of the discussion that took place. So they are already the outcome of a dialogue, but they are also an invitation to an ongoing dialogue, a continuing thinking about practice. And there's not a single researcher who wants their work to be published but unread, who doesn't want their work then to have impact, who doesn't want their work to engage with. And that's one of the features of ITYARN that's different from other forms of academic research, in that ITYARN's work is very much focused on the work that is produced by the artists within the TYA global community, and trying to engage with those artists in this sense of a dialogic progression that allows experiences to be shared between and across cultures, and also then to deepen the conversation within cultures. So whether it's at a congress when we are bringing everybody from across the globe, or whether it's in an essay that's come out of a deep engagement with a particular artistic process, or whether it's something else where someone's been thinking about a broad topic, then the key thing that we want to do in ITYARN is to influence and engage that conversation. And that's why it's important that our research is placed within the context of ASSITEJ as the research network. So just on behalf of ITYARN, I would like to thank ASSITEJ South Africa for their support in getting this publication launched. It has been a bit of a struggle because we'd hoped to do this in Tokyo, and that just couldn't happen. So thank you to ASSITEJ South Africa for your support. Thank you, Yvette, for coming today. And back as they say in television land, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I made a small PowerPoint just we be aware of the content of the book, and then Yvette will talk a little bit because she was very engaged in all this story of this book. And if we can have the PowerPoint. Next, please. You can change next, please. Yes, this is the book. This one. And next, please. The book is a collection of international essays presented at the ITYARN International Theatre for Young Audiences Research Network Conference at the 29th ASSITEJ World Congress and Festival in Cape Town, South Africa, May 2017, and at the ASSITEJ Artistic Gathering in Kristiansand, Norway, September 2019. And we have this the seminars that have been happened in these two events resulted in this book. Next, please. Every 3 years at ASSITEJ World Congress and Festival, ITYARN organizes a conference where researchers as well as artists from all over the world share their insights and perspectives. This is the third ITYARN book compiled from 2 conference events, one held in 2017 in Cape Town, South Africa, on cultural exchange and diversity in TYA, coinciding with the 19th ASSITEJ World Congress and Festival Cradle of Creativity, and one held in Kristiansand, Norway, on representing childhood, coinciding with the ASSITEJ Artistic Gathering, confronting the present. 12 presentations were selected from these events, and together they offer a rich mosaic of research areas in theater for young audiences, inquiring into the portrayal of performing for children with cognitive and physical disabilities, disrupting narratives on settlers and indigenous populations, connecting spectatorship and diversity, questioning the male gaze while watching girls perform, analyzing trauma and spiritual healing in TYA plays and performances, examining theater for babies and theater with young adults. Each article is framed by the individual scholar's cultural and ideological background. The diversity of perspectives and scholarly modes of discourse contributes to furthering the research and practice in the field, opening up horizons and inspiring innovations. So there is a panel of the contents of the articles. Next, please. This is the catalographic. How we say fish? Catalographic. I don't know in English. All this stuff about the ESPN and the things about the structure of the book. Next, please. And here are the content. We have the 12 different articles for different perspectives and connected to the 2 topics of the Cradle of Creativity and also that happened in 2017 and the meeting in the AAG in 2019 in Kristiansand. And next, please. And the book is realized in memory of Professor Dr. Gish Waterman, from the University of Hildesheim. I don't know how to say Hildesheim, in Hildesheim. Okay, and we have a very important role in this book that was Yvette gave a very. We can left the PowerPoint, and Yvette will talk a little bit about present this book and how it happened to at South Africa.
Thanks, Paulo. So, I mean, I think that the fact that the book is dedicated to Gisha is really a tribute to the tremendous contribution that Geisha made to the organization of ASSITEJ, and particularly to the founding of ITYARN as a research network within the organization. But not only that, I mean, she was also, working in really interesting ways in her own practice. She did a number of different projects with the organization, as well as founding ITYARN and driving the research agenda. There's a very lovely tribute to Geisha in the early pages of this, and I would encourage you to read it and just remember all the things that we have to be grateful for. For me, it feels still quite unbelievable that she's not with us, but I certainly feel her spirit in the way she had this gentle but powerful energy. She was and she made things happen. And so she really is the force behind this book, because without her, it wouldn't have happened, and ITYARN wouldn't have happened, and a whole lot of things within our organization wouldn't have happened. So we really do want to pay tribute to her. And obviously, as you've heard, the papers that are collected in the book were coming from these two different events. Initially, it was thought that there would be a single book coming out of the Congress, and then a second book coming out of the Christian Sant Artistic Gathering. But for various reasons, COVID actually playing a role in all of that as well, it became obvious that we needed to just make one publication. And I think what's emerged is really interesting, because I think that the essays in many ways do speak to one another and to the conversations that we've been having as an organization around what it means to be diverse in terms of culture. What does that mean, and how do we go about representing that diversity within the organization? So Geisha also, scheduled many of these talks, as she selected them in the first place, so we can feel her fingerprints on the book in that way as well. And it also, I think it's a very personal, it's been a personal endeavor. A lot of people have contributed to the book, not least of whom I need to mention my husband, whose beautiful image is on the cover, which he gave us for free. So, a lot of different people have come together to make this possible, and I really want to appreciate all of them. I think in terms of the papers themselves, I don't know if you're wanting to talk to any of the, the different chapters, or but for me, there's some real standouts here, and things that I've gone back to, because I remember also hearing them in person at the conference or conferences. And for example, I will never forget the emotion of the chapter that is called, let me just see, I need to put my glasses on to read this. Confronting the present, representing childhood, a reading of trauma in Ahmed Yerima's Pari by Eunice. The emotion of that presentation when it was first made, was an extraordinary presentation, actually. So I was so grateful when I realized that was going to be contained in this book, because I had a chance to go back and process again what I'd experienced as something very visceral. And, I just remembered the feeling of it, but it was so wonderful to go back and to be able to really understand the thinking behind it. And similarly, I mean, Paolo's chapter, which is all about the co-production that came to Cradle of Creativity, the collaboration, and Brazil, is also just such a wonderful record of that process of making that piece, and of everything we were trying to do with Cradle of Creativity, of finding ways for intercultural cooperation to happen on the ground. And now there is this history of it, this archive of it in the book, so I think that this is a book that really contains a lot of very special perspectives, and it encapsulates some of the history of our organization in that sense, because it records projects and conversations that have been very key to our understanding of what these ideas are about. So I really hope that you are able to take it and read it and enjoy it. Yes. So we have a number of copies here, and we obviously are wanting to not take them all home. In fact, what I'm really hoping is that we can encourage people who think that they would be able to sell some copies in their own contexts to maybe take 5 or 6 with them. Then they're not heavy, these books. So I'm sure you'll be able to find a way to slip them into your luggage. And if you are able to do that, then you can just liaise with us around the payment. I know that I think on the slides we do have the cost structure there, so we can show that in a moment. What it costs, but that would be the ideal thing if we are able to get some copies going off to different countries. Because one of the things that COVID has really done is actually it's shut down our capacity to market the book in the normal way, and even here, this event. We don't have a lot of people here right now, and we don't have a sort of a central marketplace as we've had at some of the other events where the books could be somewhere for everybody to have a look at and browse, during the event. So we really do need to make a little bit of effort to get them out there. And I really think that the amount of work that this book represents, and also, as I say, the way it represents Geisha's legacy as well, is something very special that we must make sure reaches the right hands. So if you're able to play a role in taking some copies back to your country and then selling them and then making that contribution back to ASSITEJ South Africa, we will let you know how to do that. That would be really great. Also because we haven't yet covered the costs of the book. So we need to recoup the costs of publishing the book in the first place. But yeah, I think that's basically it. And we can obviously sell some copies here as well if you'd just like to buy one and take that with you. That's also possible. Can we go back to the slide presentation so we can just see those next slides? I did see a slide from Manon though, because she put it together. Yeah. As I remember, it was 18 pounds, 20, you say 21 euros, $20, 21 euros, $20. And I'm not sure what that is in Swedish krona, but we had that worked out as well because he thought people might have Swedish krona here. But I can work it out again, actually.
I had it on my phone, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, so 21 euros would be 220 krona, Swedish krona, and $22 and 18 British pounds. So whatever currency you have, if you have something else, I suppose we could use that too. But are there any questions or?
Yeah, I can see if anyone from that is in also online, there is any questions or something. I know that Kentaro was there also, and Tom.
I don't think we have any questions here in the Zoom room. I think we're all okay. Just to say that there is a link on the Zoom chat, which will probably be part of the recording. Of course, there are details for purchasing online on the ASSITEJ website, and that's the link that's included on the chat here.
Okay, is there anybody, any questions here? I think it's. I think it's celebrating this book has this, we haven't had time to, the possibility to do that before. It is the moment to celebrate this book and all of that, because it was supposed to be launched in Tokyo, and we did it online but now it's the moment to celebrate it and to try to spread this book, because I think it has a lot of things very interesting. And as Yvette said, it's very strong for us to remember all the seminar in Christiansen and how it was touching this, and also in South Africa we have a lot moments of exchange, and I think that is most what there was a question two days before, what research can do about for you. I think that this exchange of thinking about our practice, and the practice have this connection with theory and philosophy. I think that everything is connected, and it's interesting. It's a good moment for us to share it, and I think it is it. Thank you, everybody here. Thank you, Yvette, for always a nice contribution, and thank you, Tom. I don't know if there is anybody more. Okay.
I think that who we should also thank, who isn't here, but who definitely needs a thank you in this, is Manon van der Laarten, of course, as the editor of the book and as the curator of these conferences, you know, before she stepped down as chair. And she obviously also had a big role to play in the content that is here and in stimulating the field. And I think that it's wonderful that as Manon has stepped down and Tom has taken over, so we've now introduced the Gisha Waterman Award for the best scholar, you know, coming through in terms of research. I think there's some wonderful kind of circles there that are very special.
Yeah. She cannot be here, but she'll be in Serbia, she said, and I hope she'll be also in Cuba, she said also. So we are going to meet a lot, Manon, and yes, she had a very important role since the beginning also. So it's nice to reinforce it always. She was with us in a video 2 days ago. She'd make this history of ITYARN. And yes, good. It's good to reinforce it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, we can do the best we can, and if you are willing to take copies back to your respective homes, please let us know now, so we can give you those. And while we're talking about selling books, I also have just a couple of copies here of the play that was written by Lalu Mukuku and Ginny Manning, called Dipalo, which is a really great. It's an English play, although it has a Sotho title, but it's a really interesting play for teenagers. And then there is also another book that I have, which is the English translation of Suzanne Lebeau's The Ogling, which is in my knowledge, the only English translation that actually exists. But it also happens to be an isiXhosa translation. So you've got the English and the isiXhosa sitting next to one another, and you've got photographs from the production that I directed of the play, which used the sort of the Xhosa culture as the frame within which the story sat. So if you're interested in that one, I've got just 2 copies of that here as well. And those are less expensive than this. I think they are €9. So there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Bye.
Bye, Tom. Good to see your face. Bye-bye, Kentaro.